New Destiny Biara, any abodi nyina, intina Radina Ye Drilling Company Limited, Eton Safre, Ankrankre, Numaku Ahudu nyina, Oba Radina Ye Drilling Company Limited, ye borehole drilling, water treatment, visibility studies, ye nhwehwemu ewo asase so ansana ye tunsuo di amount, ye manual and electric pump installation, hydrofracture, se Radina Ye etunsuo ma wa, ubetimi anom, ubetimi adware, ubetimi dia bibia, enti Eton Safre, dansie Numaku Ahudu, ye real estate companies, hotels, and sorry, any obi biara Odi insio edijuma. Arade na ye borehole drilling company limited. Behu ye tra kran e won kran Ofanko barrier. Kumasi ewo Odium bus stop. Freye wa homatufo iso 0245636634 0247171472. Arade na ye borehole drilling company limited. Yes say insio mankwa.
Shrani po for wedding kwa onua bra back from 19.
Ya ebusafo ntie Arade na ye borehole drilling company limited and I'm meeting in one dance here at the amount. So and a social media for no me catch them. Wow, person boosty social media. Say YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. What say we have more views, more following. Hey, be up say also the business, say YouTube, do mano or wow, we do monetization. A man for and saying meeting in one dance here. Why ye do man at the amount? A binum adansi ni yanyan and tem na. Yamra and topic and so anti adansia ebinimu di no pamucha eni enti
me a CSF member na me ti Germany no Berlin na me hu se Avram posti number bi ewo ni program so a oye say wow pese u boosti your friend is saying wo Facebook wo Instagram wo TikTok open likes open more views. Me wo so post number bi wo ho e na me fa number no nyame nim nukure ni me fa number no lady am fa ne Vanessa na me fa am so mami we de me wo sa Avram post bi no so wo yade e wo sa anyemo se wo betimi ayeden e boost me Instagram wo betimi ayeden e boost me TikTok me Facebook no say I na am so ke wonya mami hwe and d 5 minutes kroje authentic me na me ka kiro Avram posti ade bia woni page a e fake da me wa Germany wa ye bia ma hu se e authentic enti me pese me kire tiefo nyina se me pa cho enye fake o per 1000 likes o per 2000 o per 40000 obeni nyina ama o per 10000
ya ebusha papa mo chaw lady na oye boosting anyway no pa chaw me na my advert yama no obi oye fake ya me nye advert bi yama no ti ba chaw mo contact na enye bibi eye fake why mo amunim se de me tietie wo apese wo boosti wo social media o handle ma na o hwema obi ano ne number aye 059 627 2612 059 627 6212 na wa yama kama why te yentoa entro na UTI Daawah ye wi debate no okoye video bi fa me ho mo hwe be bi o cat free UTI Daawah ye me ja se mo so nya me ye mo himi o me si enti nkrofo yi etumi shada di ntro di tu nipa so say obi anhwa de tie de obeka obi enti
na ade ni nyina ni eso edi kan the concept of nyame ba akopɛ eba ye no eye jiwfo som we wiase na obi a multiple gods multiple na jiwfo the concept of one god the by nso the concept of nyame ba akopɛ wo a yensum obi anka ne ho no it make more sense because na man for say nyame ba ako no mu claim so no bo so ne asase wan be som na wayera yen jiwfo ne the chosen people based on the book they wrote. It did one Christianity by Judaism over 3,000 years. It did one Christianity so by Europe for the Old Testament concept no and almost the creative New Testament and the tally old nechi.
The first intro Moshe din kan twa here. O say first religion a preach concept of God and then one nyame yakopɛ ba kopɛ monotheism or Judaism ana or can say Judaism so 3,000 years 3,000 years old. My pardon no 3,500 years old.
Oh, Dabi.
Hold on. Mina make kasa.
3,000 years Islam.
Fane kasa. Make bi. Yedi.
Okay.
O kasa nyame de.
Yo mate.
Me yedi. Be professional.
Okay.
Mani ada na bleed.
Mate.
Hinduism.
Abusia. O chantro na me correct no. Hwe arrogance ene patapa a wo de kasai. Muntie bio. Na me nkyerɛ wo tro no. Hwe de me kan. UTI Daawah pa. Hey. O gun kremosu muntie de me kan. Tie.
Na adeɛ ne nyinaa ni ɛso edi kan ɛde the concept of nyame baako pɛ ɛbaayɛ no ɛyɛ jiwfoɔ som na wiase nyinaa obi a wɔ multiple gods multiple
ɛna na me kan. Na wiase nyinaa wɔ multiple gods. Na ɛso ɛde the concept of nyame baako pɛ. Nyame baako pɛ ɛbaayɛ no ɛyɛ Judaism. Saa na me kan muntie.
multiple na jiwfoɔ ɛde the concept of one god ɛde bae nti ɔde the concept of nyame baako pɛ wɔ hɔ a yɛnsum obiara nka ne ho no it make more sense because
me say omo the concept of one god yensum obiara nka ne ho no it make more sense. Saa na me kan yento aso
na manfo sɛ nyame baako no mu claim so no bo so ne asase wɔn bɛsom na wayera yen jiwfoɔ ne the chosen people based on the book they wrote. It did one Christianity by Judaism over 3,000 years.
Never shall we see Judaism over 3,000 years. Over 3,000 years. See, me see Judaism over 3,000 years. Sana we kind over 3,000 years to us.
It did one Christianity so by Europe for etape the Old Testament concept no and almost the creati omodie and the New Testament and almost the tally old nechi.
Abusia and some me kan ye mu nyina mwati. UTI Daawah beka se bidi atro. Yen kwa check ni mbra. Yen hwe. Wow. Me say don't joke with common sense family. There be yen policy will be a heaven. Yen ka so obi abekọ bunsam gem. Yen ka se ye je okra mobi. Ye de se ma wa adwene nya adwuma. Ye che UTI Daawah.
The first intura mo she din kan twa ye. O say first religion a preaching concept of God then one nyame yakopɛ ba kopɛ monotheism or say Judaism. Ana o can say Judaism so 3,000 years old. My pardon no 3,500 years old.
Oh Dabi.
Hold on. Mina make kasa.
1,000 years Islam.
Fane kasa.
Be kyerɛ ɔmo kwan. Sana Islam kyerɛ. Na adeɛ ne nyinaa ni ɛso edi kan ɛde the concept of nyame baako pɛ ɛbaayɛ no ɛyɛ jiwfoɔ som. Na wiase nyinaa obi a wɔ multiple gods multiple na jiwfoɔ ɛde the concept of one god ɛde bae nti ɔde the concept of nyame baako pɛ wɔ hɔ a yɛnsum obiara nka ne ho no it make more sense because na manfo sɛ nyame baako no.
The first intura mo she din kan twa ye o say first religion a preaching concept of God then one nyame yakopɛ ba kopɛ monotheism or say Judaism. Ana o can say Judaism so 3,000 years old. My pardon no 3,500 years old.
Oh Dabi.
Hold on. Mina make kasa.
1,000 years Islam.
Fane kasa. Make bi. Yedi.
Okay.
O kasa nyame de.
Yo mate.
Me yedi. Be professional.
Okay.
Mani ada na bleed.
Mate.
Hinduism.
Jafe patapa no de kasa afi yanhwe muntie de me kan yi. Wow.
Be kyerɛ ɔmo kwan. Sana Islam kyerɛ. Na adeɛ ne nyinaa ni ɛso edi kan ɛde the concept of nyame baako pɛ ɛbaayɛ no ɛyɛ jiwfoɔ som. Na wiase nyinaa obi a wɔ multiple gods multiple na jiwfoɔ ɛde the concept of one god ɛde bae nti ɔde the concept of nyame baako pɛ wɔ hɔ a yɛnsum obiara nka ne ho no it make more sense because na manfo sɛ nyame baako no.
UTI Daawah eka wo debate no say Hindufoɔ and started with the concept of one god. There be Hindufoɔ with the supreme god and omo abosom enketewa. Omo abosom bebre. Hindu, any. Wow. Wow. The concept of nyame baako pɛ a yɛnsom obia nka ne ho ɛyɛ jiwfoɔ na de bae ɛyɛ jiwfoɔ. Wow. Ɛnyɛ Hindu. Wow. Ɛyɛ jiwfoɔ. Wow. Aha. Wow. The three Hindu gods. We call it the main three. Hindu som na nkasa main three keke. Main three ne keke. Wow. The Hindu creator God. It is often said that there is a trinity of Hindu gods. Brahma, the creator, Vishnu, the preserver, and Shiva, the destroyer. And all gods betray by research. And nyame baako pe. And a Hindu for wow. UTI Daawah, Mr. Why? Aha. Mr. Wana. Or say, me can say Judaism, 3,000 years, 3,500. Dear me can you wow, me just say ya.
Judaism, over 3,000 years. And the one Judaism, over 3,000 years. And the one
over 3,000 years.
The first Intura Moshe din kantwa here. I say first religion a preaching concept of God and then one yakope ba kope monotheism or say Judaism. Ana or can say Judaism so 3,000 years old. My pardon no 3,500 years old.
oh Dabi.
Hold on. Me make kasa
1,000 years Islam
make kasa make Yedi.
Okay.
O kasa nyame de.
Yo mate.
Me yedi. Be professional.
Okay.
Mani ada na bleed.
Mate.
Aha. Hinduism. Eba we are say 4,000 years ago. Which one is the senior? Hinduism ana. If I'm 500 years older than you, I'll be the senior. Ana 500 years I grow. In Hinduism, okay, Chandoya Upanishad, chapter 6, hymn number 2, or say God is one. In Svetasvatara Upanishad, chapter hymn number 2, Chandoya Upanishad, chapter 6, hymn number 2, mantra 1, or say He is one. In Svetasvatara Upanishad, chapter 6, hymn number 1, or say there is no likeness of Him. Son also what say there is one God and there is no likeness of that God. In Bhagavad Gita chapter 7, hymn number 20. Also omo we are say after omundomu they worship material things like stone, tree and other objects. And son Hinduism din kan kire me say foundation na nya obere wa. So onim he's not even aware say concept of God no enye Judaism and a shase. Hinduism and a shase. Osan can say Quran books 3. Ye major books of Quran mo obo say Quran, Injil and Zabur.
Yeah, Jipacho. I'm the other one. He do someone over 300 million gods. UTI Daawah. But over the supreme God. And a Brahma. Over the supreme God. And over gods. So Kabuma, 300 million Hindu gods. UTI Daawah him. And to say Yananano, Mosom. Yananano, and with the supreme God, and with the supreme God. Ye Kadian Pongkwame, and I walk. Wabre. Wait, last one. Wait, may you teaching Sintina, may you no. Why? Me teaching tea. Why? Inti Hindu someone over 300 million costs, and you one UTI Daawah. After your city can throw you. Muntie, na mention the kind.
Astaghfirullah. I say Quran, Injil, and Quran. I say At-Tawrah, Injil, and Quran. One was Zabur. I always share Quran 4 verse 163. The next book is Zabur.
That's it.
With here and also and yet 3 books per Zabur. Not just that. Yes, I was Sufi Ibrahim. It was Surah Al-Alam. Inna hadha la fi Sufi al-Ula, Sufi Ibrahim wa Musa. So me can say a teacher who does not understand what he teaches does not qualify to be a teacher or teach that particular subject, because you don't understand the common fundamental basics of it. Mpamcho, yes. Ladies and
I don't be a UTI Daawah kind. UTI Daawah say, me say, me books to be a Quran, a book, didn't say, but books of book, didn't say, obo, the Torah, the Angel, the Angel, and then the Quran. But I say, me and son, I was saying, Krimodin and Motoso. And yes, I'm a kind. They can say there are more books, but the main any the American UTI Daawah, me say me. I just we can't trust them. The American.
Except with such of them as do wrong.
To aswe.
And say to them. We believe in that which has been revealed to us.
Tie. Na ka kire Jew for the Christo for say. Yen nim Prophet Muhammad. Ya gidie ye de abra ye no Quran no yen ya gitum
And revealed to you.
And de ye de bra ho no.
Yeah.
But what tie pa nti wa accepted the scripture given to the Jews and the Christians. Nti wo ye nkremoni a homa miensa. Eye homa hodo om believe say de bra edifo no but miensa Quran le tesi sopa no the Torah, the Injil and the Quran. Into to reject the gospel. Want to reject the Torah. Now can say we enkremoni. Ti also agene die nitum. And
Abusia die na mekan. Abusia e die na mekan. Me say UTI Daawah. Enyo mo size ni mi o. Mo begu mo sum no. Mo begu sum no. Se wa tama se e so na nya wo dia. Ba o kasa no ma twist na nkremofo no gu ase e na o e mashallah Islamu even Hindu teachings na no si bibeti no Hindu teachings no kra on say ni mo Hindu so no say me say Hindu for so nyame ba ko omo 300 million gods but omo friend no the supreme god. And your friend Brahma. So I say, Muntie UTI Daawah. Muntie no.
Hindus no my image of Allah. My image bia nipa bi ne nsa anan na enjan bi sai no ho ene nkika ho bia wo so omo. Okay. Your friend Krishna. Ana Brahma Sutra. Omo Krishna, Brahma Sutra ene Vishnu. Omo form the Trinity for Hinduism. Sana Christians omo God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit no. Almost more Krishna, Vishnu, and then Brahma. What I say? Enti ye babe assess ahwe.
That the UTI Daawah team. Why? Enya Krishna, Vishnu, and Brahma wetin. Enya Krishna, Vishnu, and Brahma wetin. Endi Hindu Trinity UTI Daawah mesi suade. Hindu Trinity no. Eye Vishnu, eye Brahma, and Shiva. Krishna on count. Krishna, Krishna, only who is Krishna? Ain't Krishna, one of the most widely revered and most popular of all Hindu deities, worshipped as the 8th incarnation, that is avatar of the Hindu god Vishnu. So as you say, ain't Krishna, the 8th incarnation of Vishnu. Into Hindu Trinity, no, UTI Daawah wetin. Eye Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva. Eye Vishnu, Brahma, and Krishna. UTI Daawah, bro, why? Bro, why? Na so na nya wodia. De bia me kasa adwena nya adwuma, body ne bebre. Eye homa, na wo se nyina ye kenkan, na ye sua de edifiri mo. Wow, UTI Daawah, debate na say, obema the meaning of confirmation. Afiti, confirmation meaning. Eye UTI Daawah kan meaning say Quran no eye dictionary muntie no.
So therefore me jina ha aka say obviously the Bible cannot come from God.
But all your ceremony, be very careful with musical instruments. It's in ceremony, untie musical instruments. I just about a coupe, your friend of that. Me pacha untie in ceremony, untie musical instruments. And you want musical instrument say guitar any organ womb. No. Ebe prove the actual. We go to more sources. Open heaven akọ. Open 72 virgins here. Sunyade ye. Why? Sunyade ye because o heaven no ebowa. Ebeye me ya papa. Yen kenkan hadith na da. Yen kenkan. Why? Yantuas. Sunnah ibn Majah 4020. It was narrated from Abu Malik Ashari that the messenger of Allah, peace be upon him, said, Muntie, my people among my nation will drink wine. Wine. I was saying cremoninum and I saying cremoninum. And yes, saying cremoninum wine. But in Sheni Edge, let's say, Nechi for another number wine, and I'm a what? Which is wrong. Calling it by another name. No more friend. And the musical instrument will be played for them. And the musical instrument will be played for them. Now, for musical instrument and singing girls will sing for them. Allah will cause the earth to swallow them up and turn them into monkeys and pigs. Into Kremonia, or musical instrument, or be a musician. You musical instrument. It's according to Islam. Black Sharif, Uncle Heaven, VIP, Uncle Heaven. And Kremonia, what you young, musical instruments, womb, and something according to Islam. Now on Judgment Day, Allah, Ebema Assassin, and minimum. Now what Danimu and Ray and in Black. According to Islam, what's your musical instrument? You are what you say, a day, what's your break? Menamekan. UTI Daawah. Menamekan. Any another one. Yenti. Another one. Hadith Menamekan, another one. Any. Afi. Shaking Kasa. Musical instrument. TA. Enkromonia Solia. Shatawale ye program on our siase. Stone Boy, a program with Siase, Black Sheriff, ye program with Siase. Shall we follow so can you may do so? Would them why you men are we in Cremonia, you must go with them, Quran recitations and Quran recitations, no one was with you as a Muslim. Here, what can say from there? Agro. May one no one quite have it. They say, wow, no one quite have it.
Tony says, is it true that music is the instruments of Satan and that is why it is prohibited for us? Well, this was stated by some of the scholars. Not only that, in the hadith, when the Prophet ﷺ was in Aisha's house on a day of Eid, and he was lying on his side, giving his face to the wall, and there were two young girls, slaves, singing. So it's a day of Eid. And we know that on the day of Eid and on weddings, we are permitted to use the duf and to sing and to enjoy. It's a day of celebration. So Abu Bakr comes into his daughter's house. May Allah be pleased with them. And he sees the two girls singing. So he says, objecting to what he sees, Amazamiru shaitan, in the presence of the Prophet ﷺ, do I see the flutes and the pipes of Satan being played? There's no music, by the way. They were just singing. And probably with the duf. So the Prophet ﷺ did not say, oh Abu Bakr, these are not the pipes and the instruments of shaitan. He did not say that to him, which means he's approving what he had said. But he said to him, leave them, Abu Bakr, so that people would know we have room in our religion for entertainment. So from this and others, some scholars room in our religion for entertainment. So, from this and others, some scholars said, yes, musical instruments are the instruments of shaitan because it corrupts the heart, unlike what most people believe, but it does. And those in the West and Muslims who are already having corrupt hearts won't be able to understand this because they've never tried living without music. Music is addictive. Music transforms you from one state of mind to the other. Go to any gym. Try to do the aerobic routine without any music, and then do it with the music, and you will find a lot of difference. The energy that people get is from shaitan. And this is why Allah says in Ayah 64, chapter 16, speaking to shaitan, وَاسْتَفْزِزْ مَنِ اسْتَطَعْتَ مِنْهُمْ بِصَوْتِكَ. Provoke whomever you can from them with your voice. Imam Mujahid says in the tafsir, his voice is music and singing. You can see people listening to soft music, love song, romantic songs, driving down the highway, doing 5-10 miles per hour. Mellow, very chilling, having a good time. And when they listen to pop music or hard rock, heavy metal, you're seeing them doing 120 miles per hour.
Opinion editor of Fefeno. No one saying say this man is not prophet. He is nobody in Islam. Moshe learn. Yeah, this man, our Nunimadi change UTI Daawah. He is nobody. He is nobody. But UTI Daawah is somebody. But Sean Paul is somebody. Omuna somebody omudeli chim. Eko to hadith ya. If the man talking is nobody ya, hadith no go to ya no. Hadith no is nobody. Wow. Mone na mzongo ho inkremuson krawunsia. Hadith krawun kebida. Mose zongo ho hadith krawun kan Quran krebi na wo dem. Ene tuturasem entokwa scamming eni wi num ena bodi she zongo ho. Wano shake kasa waba ebe type ubekom deep osaye cafe boy oskani mutasku una meka wase mutasku mwanu shake kasa we go to hadith or chirem we say this man is nobody is in Islam and so who ni area who wompna who yere kra wasa wo girlfriend esa wompna ene ne da abran kremusuchi mwanu according to Islam abua e wose abua yibeku no abua ne ye halal abua no e hote ansa wedi muko KFC e kokoto chicken KFC chicken no kwato nkremofo ne kuno e ye halal akuko furu na free China e ba Ghana enye eme na ere mesi won to me e ye wano oh e ye mof anu e na odidi sum na chi won to me hwe Hindu die na meka ye no enye dede o enye dede aha a intellectual platform. I control how me mistake. I will come back and correct the mistake I made. You have no intellectual mistake on the field of intelligence. You nipa make me a kasan my mistake. Me koba me ba beso samano. UTI Daawah pronounce weti wa me pacha still I watch them. Any Hindu for omo nsom nyame baako. Any when God has form, he is referred to by the term Paramata. This is Almighty God, whose three main forces are Brahma, the creator, Vishnu, the sustainer, and Shiva, the destroyer. Hindus believe in many gods who perform various functions like executives in a large corporation. And according to Hindu, someone over 300 million gods. We speak with facts. adwen na nya adwuma body ne bre mamemfa UTI da amemfa Hafiz Buhari enwie dwumadie no ye bebisa Hafiz Buhari say can the prophet write Prophet Muhammad otumi twere wana obi antie according to the Quran there is a Quran verse, don't lie for the sake of our religion Sheikh Remu say me nuanom enkremofo dodo na entro eno mu di defenders of tie Sheikh no tie.
And all Muslims, don't apologize for the truth and don't distort the truth. There are Muslims that try to deny this. Oh, he didn't marry Aisha as a young girl. Ya akhi, look, that's not the way forward. We don't lie for the sake of our religion. Astaghfirullah. We have the truth. We're not going to cover up the truth if people find it embarrassing. This is the reality. Deal with it.
What is Sheikh Qadi's rebuke to Muslim apologists who say that Aisha was...
What's it, Sheikh Neka? So the power line. Professor wa internet na rough kakra ti ebesaba nti entro na ti yankobo debate na me ne UTI Daawah ye ti mo hwe entro ni bi eya na me ya o yanko
yo wa wicha for bechechi amo avram bin mosheni UTI danom one of the people omo disgrace Islam e Ghana ha ukutu omo source pe no mo betage wo say we di atro so mo ye smart omo ye madwemba de also mo ye ne say avram ekutu hadith bi ampa sa na hadith ne tie na immom ne nchiremu nie ana de scholars ne kanie bemu no be ye na avram we di atro ndua bia be wo so ebeka be ampa any me interview bi na me kasa about say nkremoni ba ebehye rig o si me mediatro hadith ni nso ni ebusua sabio yese kwasea onnim dokono a abempo na enye de to ahye eni hadith ni ye nyina ye nkan wow Riyadh as Sahin 1645 Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, said, the messenger of Allah, peace be upon him, curses the maker and wearer of a wig and the tattooer and the one who is tattooed. Al-Buhari and Muslim so ekasa asem no. Eni osin komisheni edome obi a oye eni obi a ohye wig. Eni di oye tattoo. Ene de obema ya tattoo ne ho me ba cho we enkremu ben biom ena nkremu ni hia sabati ase ade ne menye eyenko the next hadith eyema sheik awote apo embekasa another hadith ne Sunnah and Nasai 3416 it was narrated that Abdullah said the messenger of Allah curses the woman who tattoos and the one who tattooed. The woman who fixed hair extensions and the one who had her hair get extended. The consumer of riba, that is obi oye kalabule ne anase or scam ne ade, and the one who pays it. Abusia. Enya di na da ho clay. Afima sheik ne nkase.
Ebusia all said the hadith ne to hadith no straightforward. Hadith no straight and forward. Hadith no enchiremu bi anim. Na because there are always exceptions to the rule. So what you say? Na scholars natural mo adwene. Even scholars no eyo mo mutumi change no. Scholars be to make us say the omo ka no allowed. No scholar be say it is not allowed. Eju ye nkremoni a wan na wase bitie no. Are you listening to the hadith or are you listening to the interpretation of the scholars? Saa no mutio Bible kura kasa ne Christo for the person mo di omo adwene e kire Bible ni. I said they call interview. Nyankopon say according to the Bible no Isaiah chapter 49 verse 16 Nyankopon say watworo Jerusalem e wo ne nsem. Also say a metaphor. A metaphor say na mo kura mo nim kwan ye fa so kasa e ma no dane metaphor. Eduru wa me kire mo. Ko ese nkremofo ni momo. Hadith na me di ku woni Quran verses de eno enkyeremu na mfom se Bible asem no mu akati no mu jubilati e na Abraham eti ho me meti da bi metumi yeti wo ba bi ba me meti a ma be ka che me followers so I made a mistake na ma correct me ho ye duru kwa na beti ye ntie enkyeremu no why oba nkremuni ba enhye tie nkremuni ba enye se wo hye enye se nkremuni ba twiniti. Thank you ye to aso
ma shake ne nkasa why ye mama mu shake fo na san akasa won se sebi enye tan no bi tan ne mom ye pese nkremu som no mo te ase na mo som ne yi. I don't hate you, but wo som na wo de condemning crofo na wan kasa untumi practice no ena ye me yawo anka wo na wo criticize yen say yen brambe dwan Islam e friend say be dwan Islam a wo say abosom so yen kwase asem e kasa tie other religion no sanka wo no wo practice ade ni yie mpo a enhame ye ma shake ne nkasa
Is asking about the ruling on wearing a wig. And a wig is something that has hair on it. It's like a hat. You know, everybody knows what a wig is. So what is the ruling on wearing a wig? It is not permissible for a Muslim woman, let alone a Muslim man, of course this is by default, to wear a wig. And the scholars said that the Prophet ﷺ's authentic hadith, narrated by Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, may Allah be pleased with him, that the Prophet has cursed those who make hair extensions and those who wear hair extensions. So hairdressers should fear Allah Azza wa Jal, because this is one of the professions that may lead them to hell.
Who say shake or ma hairdressers warning? Who say shake say hairdressers say you're very careful because it will lead them to hell. Afi o here. No abeka scholars na dwenkyere. Na wo UTI Daawah wa kwot na ho. E na wo de scholars na dwenkyere no e condemn the hadith na ka. Wo pa wo fi se nkremu so me agro. O ka say Islam e agro. O ka say Islam ye betra na e de di atabu UTI Daawah. Baby a wuti pay still o kasa je se wudi atamu ansa. Me atamu a wudi mi nyina no yakati atendidie ni nyina one day ni abema reply. Why? Ye ndi watemu ye de nyansa ene be yiwa no. Me nim say de mu ye nyina no say on be ye no mo provoke wa na da pro wa ko kaseti an komisheni no ma be ye wallahi in komisheni bo ne be na wa ye ni in komisheni ne personal life of family hu there in komisheni personal life ye ko hwa enye kura ba me emfa me hu e na blabo. Thank you. Ensem wo say Allah di amano no e na me bisa no ho question. Because in commissioning the Bible, Paul, Peter, Isaiah, no, almost say a comma me make a home. It's a bit bizarre question. So as you say, I want to be commented say, why are you always attacking Christianity? We be attacking Christianity. You have a bizarre question. Now, mo Bible no, to make us up some young Kwasiasem. Kona ko bisa mo Bible, and we nyan ko pon no so for say, again and no more attacking this. So, mo dia mo ye comfortable. Mo de mo ka obi sum ho asem a na mo ani agye mo di atam a na mo ani agye de bisa question a na mo bo mo hene mo nye ho hwe ye to aso.
They do not fear Allah Azza wa Jal and be careful in what they do through learning the Quran and the Sunnah and knowing what is right and what is wrong. So hair extensions are prohibited because there is deception and there is changing of Allah's creation, though temporary. But the deception factor is there. You're cheating people. You're claiming that you have something you do not have. Now, wearing a wig is even worse because an extension is part of the hair, but now you're wearing the whole thing. Except, scholars made an exception.
What? say except scholars made an exception. Maybe so exception na scholars na dey ba no. E kan hadith ne ho anenka ho. Enka ho. E scholars ni nchiremu. If wearing a wig is wrong, hey, or body trimming to kura still, and yes, or shall wig, no? Because still it is deception, and you need trimming. But scholars, no, Emma exception say, hey, be no be in your cancer. Now I call you chemotherapy, maybe an trimming year to and no dear, obey to me as a wig, and no crown can have this, and your scholar into the moon. Allah offering commission not scholar be you know. I don't know modern throw. Jerry Yanis when UTI Daawah cut now. Hey, Abraham would you know Islam more than me?
And they said that if a person loses the hair completely, for example, a woman undergoes chemotherapy and she becomes bald. So now wearing a wig and restoring what Allah Azza wa Jal had created a human being at. Therefore, there is nothing wrong in wearing a wig for such a person. But a person who loses some of his hair and would like to look more beautiful by wearing a wig, this is not permissible.
Any UTI Daawah, why? And hadith UTI Daawah pa. You have another throw try you. When I see UTI Daawah, they cut and paste. What the was
because one man source be about what can
say. Oh, me go to Mrs. Rattle Lebawia.
And we are there.
One book
and a book,
a source,
a divine book.
Yes,
oh, so I say, we a divine book. One so say hadith a divine book. Maybe I hadith a divine. Hadith, a divine book. There be. But they won't tell you.
Sir,
a divine
Rattle Lebawia.
And we are there.
One book and
a book,
a source,
a divine book.
Yes,
a divine book.
Yes, a divine book.
A divine book.
Yes, a divine book.
Yes,
a divine book. Ah, man, hadith here then.
Hadith.
Okay, sir, you can't this person you go upon hadith. On him subium. You can't this Sunan Abu Dawuda, Ibn Majah.
I mean, said also and
also into a good magbo
but one can you.
Yeah, debate, Also, we'll go to hadith. Hadith, will be a the phone, so one can you. And I must say hadith in one kind. And I'm listening say a WTI or see debate on Babu. Also on Babu. Why? Also on debate. Why? Well, man. So, and I'm say, okay, wait, be a kind. Maybe I don't crave for hadith a divine. No, hadith in your last. Hadith in your divine. But what you walk and a wood control. Nan crave for was here. Mashallah. Oh, man, you now was say what da a was right. And wait for ye. I don't know what other way because I didn't want to argue with him because when said debate a time any day now we are cut and paste and then
kind the way to kind
let me tell say TC and me be question say
there be source kind source be
oh my kind source Mr. Latin number we
what do one but
Latin number we
what do one but
call Ukofia Kokate yeah join no me be question
okay
yeah so that's what Abadia was saying na okotu ye no any volume so book no okotu no any volumes but what say book no volumes UTI Daawah and throw wo Mrs. CSF yebe mau doctorate degree in line wo and throw me
you man
okay
what you say
okay
me question me be say en komsheni sia waraka
yeah
e
just
ba chaw en komsheni o sia waraka how many times in his life muntie UTI Daawah versus Zakiranaik obientie me say me mudimech Christianity me wiomo etinkremofo no education na me de ba na montape na mo fen kasom no emboamo mo yese mo be challenge mo be gusum no I'm telling you. What says see an UTI Daawah debate na say or say sect be any or oni Sean Paul esum kremosum baako but or the post at all say obey expose fake sect we Sean Paul join no or be expose so me udi mechia ube google some muntie
3 times
Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, met Waraka only twice in his life.
Tunisia waraka just 3 times
Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, met Waraka only twice in his life. Only twice in his life.
Tunisia waraka just 3 times source
a divine book.
Yes, Muhammad ibn Ishaq
A divine book.
Man hadith here then.
Hadith.
Okay, so you can't this person you go upon hadith. Only
Abuja, seven. Abuja, and commissioning Oshia Waraka, how many times? UTI Daawah say 3 times. Anna Zakranake so see 2 times. Yamfa the way. Ye, Messi me menim ube chantro. Haya. Messi adi me Messi asin. Muntie ba kon kan. Enjoy once more. Enjoy once more.
Because
one man source be about what can say.
Oh, me quote me Sirat al-Nabawiya.
Anu ya dey.
Won't book na.
And abiment. A book.
A book. A source.
A divine book.
Yes, Muhammad ibn Ishaq.
A divine.
Sirat al-Nabawiya.
Anu ya dey.
Won't book na.
And abiment. A book.
A book. A source.
A divine book.
Yes, Muhammad ibn Ishaq.
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 A divine book.
Man hadith here then.
Hadith.
Okay, so you can't this person you go upon hadith. Only subium. You can't this Sunan Abu Dawud, Ibn Majah.
I mean say doso enti.
Doso enti ebunu magbo matse.
But one kan yo. One kan. The way ko to one kan ye.
Me tell say TC and me be some question say.
There be source one kan source bia.
Oh, man kan source me Sirat al-Nabawiya.
What do I know? But
Sirat al-Nabawiya.
what do I know? But
ko ukofia kokate ya join no. Emo me be some question.
Okay.
Yima no.
Okay.
What you say?
Okay.
Me question me be some say. En Tunisia waraka.
Yeah.
Just 3 times.
Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, met Waraka only twice in his life.
Tunisia waraka.
Yeah.
Just 3 times.
Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, met Waraka only twice in his life. Only twice in his life.
Tunisia waraka.
Yeah.
Just 3 times. 3 times.
Says here UTI Daawah. Osin commissioning Oshia Waraka only 3 times. Zakranake said there be Oshia 2 times in his life. Me the hadith any sources Babachra was said and commissioning Waraka only muna da. Now we only mobi only the pan of baby out. Not Parisami Avram, mini mobi or baby out. Not in a bush, not spirit be a yam and spirit in coming. Na me di America na ma come yere nchen na ma ka kire me yere say spirit bi emi amekon na me yere na fa me na o de me akọ ne kelzen na ho na kelzen na mi nim no kelzen na onye odifo kelzen na onye prophet who was formerly either a Jew or a Christian because waraka no nim Arabic tro onim Hebrew tro waraka na waraka na ono nyame friend no ono aka kire nkomhyeni say honhom na omi abokon no the same spirit and oko Moses nchen me bisa question and Gabriel oko Moses nchen omi ane kon omi Moses kon na me the hadith na prove ya kire say waraka wu ye pe na nkomhyeni vision na wonya no to twa for some time waraka no be in 2 times. They say waraka and the teacher. To waraka wuchi no and no start or the message in the frafra or the message in the frafra or the message in the frafra. They say me nyan start you 2023 when ni beji brutal. Mo dem tro e dey defend them also. Yama entro ba konso. Me see debate am ni UTI o twantro na ye mobo. Why LD can invent flying object. Ade e wo say to they say aeroplane. Why they can invent UTI Daawah a control? Wabetna we are seeing any abetna internet so a diatro. Muntiero.
Flying machine. Flying machine. Send flying machine by wiase. Ye use wo wiase. And na kataria wo koi. Sika wo hono ma. Kamene bra pen yete otimi nchan metene nchan na ye tu fo ayeko eyefe. Tetene nka wona nti o. Ebotu wo de 1 year na nka wo de akọ. Jata wi wo koi mo so no ma wi wo koi.
Na some Muslims buy so na satam na ana satam na cars o.
Me kire wo say the chrono na omo ye den uncivilized. Omo nimi hwe. And obi be kire omo education, mo be ye civilized.
Okay.
And through that civilization no any name omo aba be aeroplane. Ibn Firnas. Ono Abbas Ibn Firnas. Ono obi a or the first idea in the 9th century say obey flying machine. Obey flying machine. Aeroplane.
The Arabs invented the flying machine. This is a very misleading statement claiming that Abbas ibn Firnas made the first flying machine and the first successful flight. The only evidence that exists that supports this claim is the poem. He surpassed in velocity the flight of the ostrich, but he neglected to arm his body with the strength of the vulture. Mu'min ibn said, 886 AD.
The Algerian historian Ahmed Mohamed al-Makari d. 1632 wrote 700 years later. Among other very curious experiments which he made, one is his trying to fly. He covered himself with feathers for the purpose, attached a couple of wings to his body, and, getting on an eminence, flung himself down into the air, when according to the testimony of several trustworthy writers who witnessed the performance, he flew a considerable distance, as if he had been a bird. But, in alighting again on the place whence he had started, his back was very much hurt, for not knowing that birds when they alight come down upon their tails, he forgot to provide himself with one. Ahmed Mohamed al-Makari, 1632 AD.
The authenticity of the written text above cannot be determined since there are no other evidence to support his claims. Difference between a flying machine and a hang glider. A flying machine is an apparatus that uses mechanical power, and which consists of several different parts, each one of them performing a different function. Abbas ibn Firnas made a hang glider, and not a flying machine. The other statement is that it was a successful flight. Clearly his hang gliding was not successful since attaching wings, falling down, and breaking bones, is anything else than successful. The most important part of the plane is lift, drag and thrust. Abbas ibn Firnas made a hang glider, and not a flying machine. The other statement is that it was a successful flight. Clearly his hang gliding was not successful since attaching wings, falling down, and breaking bones, is anything else than successful. The most important part of the plane is lift, drag and thrust.
Abbas ibn Firnas, ono obi a or the first idea in the 9th century say obey flying machine.
Earlier flights than Abbas ibn Firnas. The Chinese Emperor Wang Mang recruited in 100 BC a soldier to be bound with bird feathers, who had 2 giant wings strapped to his back and covered with bird feathers all over his body.
Another Chinese emperor, Gao Yong, used prisoners in 559 BC as test people to achieve flying. One of the prisoners named Yuan Wangtu is claimed to have landed safely from a tower jump.
In 559 BC, a Chinese prisoner named Yuan Wangtu was sentenced to death by being flown off the top of a large tower attached to a kite. He survived the flight and claimed the record of the highest jump survived by a person in the process. He was later starved to death in prison.
Furthermore, kites have been invented by the Chinese since around 400 BC. Archytas, 428347 B.C., invented the first flying machine, which has a shape of a bird, and is alleged to have flown 200 meters. He nicknamed it the pigeon. He nicknamed it the pigeon.
flying machine send the flying machine by wiase use wo wiase and
statement that the flight of Abbas ibn Firnas was the founding of flying is simply not true. Today's flying machines are based significantly in physics, aerodynamics, mechanical engineering, chemical engineering and different inventions. What Ibn Firmas did was basically only making wings and crash down, with no success or control. The planes, rockets and jets today are much more advanced than meets the eye. For example, there are ramjets and scramjets. The aerodynamics of the wings and plane body, the electronic systems, how the chemical fuel is converted to mechanical energy, nothing of it was known to mankind in the medieval ages. In 1979 NASA improved the efficiency of fixed-wing aircraft by reducing drag, with their new invention called winglet. In the 1970s NASA developed the supercritical airfoil, which led to the invention of supercritical wings SCW, used by almost every plane on the planet. Now there are other types of flying machines, and not just wing-inspired from the birds. This includes space shuttles, missiles, helicopters and air balloons. Scientists around the world are researching in a technology called anti-gravitational propulsion system, which is completely unrelated to wings and air. Chinese were the first people who made the first flights with wings before Abbas ibn Firmas in the 9th century, and today's space shuttles, missiles, planes, rockets and air balloons are much more advanced and works entirely different.
Fanian Abdul's, John's Let's UTI Daawah, keep flying, you are better than this. This UTI like Daawah lied too much la. Mawao.